Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Zenum and welcome back to another Call of Duty Mobile video. Today we're going to be talking about tips and tricks for the game. Now before this video starts, I just want to clarify that these tips and tricks aren't like just the best tips and tricks, they're just tips and tricks that I don't see mentioned a lot. A lot of tips and trick videos say the same stuff like slide pre-aim around corners, etc. And I just wanted to give you guys tips and tricks that you may not have known just to help you improve the game if you've seen videos like this already. Also, these tips aren't in any order of best to worst, so with that in mind, let's get into the video. So first we have know your role in the team and adapt to new roles if need be. So you can see here that I'm playing in Nuketown. I'm staying over the right side of the map from my spawn point, and I'm just staying over here. I see people capping B, but I don't worry about that because I can trust that my teammates are over there handling the situation fine. And if the enemies start rushing all over to that side and no one comes here, then I can adapt and go over to the left side of the map. Next we have use cover to your advantage. Now this is a little more than just stay behind cover, which is a really good tip. You want to always be staying behind cover. But here I take cover next to the Nuketown sign because it could only be penetrated by snipers and LMG. Using cover to your advantage not only means just simply staying behind cover, it also means knowing what can penetrate your cover, how stable your cover is, like this car on here, and it also means when you should be leaving your cover to peek some shots. Next up, we have take cover after shooting. Now, as you can see here, every time I shoot, every time I peek, I slide back into cover just to make myself as hard to hit as possible. It doesn't matter if I kill the enemy or not, I just need to be getting back undercover because the more time that you're undercover is the less time that the enemy can easily kill you. Next we have stay agile whilst ADS. Now when you shoot at an enemy, a lot of the time what people do is just stand still. They may strafe from left to right, side to side, but this makes it really easy for the enemy to hit you because you move a lot slower when you are strafing than when you're just running. So essentially what you want to do is just make sure when you're ADS you're jumping around, drop shotting, etc. Next we have mix up your movements. Now something that a lot of shooter games have in common is that the more unpredictable you are, the harder you are to hit. Even when there's no enemies nearby, you should still be jumping around, sliding around, all of that, in case there's a sniper that you can't see or just anyone that you don't notice. So you can see here that I'm constantly jumping around, I'm sliding around, making myself hard to hit. I'm not doing it in any sort of pattern, I'm just randomly doing it and going to where I need to go. So if there's any enemy that may be able to shoot me that I don't see or anything, I'm not just running in a straight line, making it easy for them to hit me. Next up we have only peek if you can /shoot, and this ties back to a couple of tips that we just covered, but essentially if there's nothing to gain from you peeking, then you shouldn't peek. You should only really peek if A, you're gonna kill an enemy, or B, you're getting some surveillance of the area, in which you should only peek for a very small amount of time, then you should duck back into cover because again, if you peek, then you're vulnerable to enemies, so you really don't want to be peeking that often, and as soon as you finish, again, just go back into cover. Alright, now we have, when hip firing, try to crouch / prone instead of jump, right? And as you can see here, moving and jumping both make your hip fire less accurate, right? But crouching and proning do nothing. When you're hip firing, you should definitely be moving, but if you move and jump, then your hip fire gets really inaccurate. So instead of jumping when you're hip firing, you should be trying to prone and crouch instead. Now this isn't to say not to jump when hip firing, it's just to keep into consideration that you could be hitting more shots and that you're more accurate if you're not jumping. Okay, this one's a bit controversial, but you don't have to stick to the meta, okay? The meta is just what's popular. And whilst that does usually reflect on the best weapons, there are some weapons that aren't really too meta, but they are pretty good. Like the Type 25. The Type 25 was really meta in around Season 2 and 3, and it's dropped off a lot now, but it's still a really good weapon. Another example is the Outlaw. The Outlaw is often seen as a really trash weapon by the community, but I do better with the Outlaw than I do with any other sniper, and I don't mean to sound cocky, but I do pretty well with the Outlaw. The point I'm trying to get across is just find a weapon that you can use comfortably and that you use well, and that does well in battle, and don't just use other guns just because other people are using them. Next we have when being silent, jump around corners instead of slide. Now if you don't know, when you're the last person on search and destroy and you slide, you can hear your whole team. If they have mics, they're all telling you, don't slide, because the enemy will be able to tell exactly where you are. And if the enemy knows exactly where you are, then they have a very big advantage. So you still want to be getting some mobility when going around corners in case of hard scoping, etc. But you don't want to be sliding, otherwise the enemy will hear you coming before you're even around the corner. Our last tip is a bit more complicated, but play based on where your teammates are, right? So say I'm spawning this side and I rush in the kitchen and I go into here, this money room, right? If I attack from here, it's a bit stupid, right? Because people, if the enemy's here, then they can just sneak up behind me and attack me. But if my teammates are already blocking this and they've already covered this entrance, then going through money is a perfect opportunity to cover all of pool, right? Play based on where your teammates are covered and based on where the enemies could be, right? If you're in places where there's none of your teammates, then you've got to play really passively, just looking around all the time, making sure enemies don't sneak up on you. But if you know that your team's behind you, then you don't have to check behind you. So just be aware of where your teammates are. You can see them on the minimap, and you can actually see them in-game when you look on the screen. So you should always just be keeping in the back of your head an idea of where your teammates are. This can also help you determine where the enemy's going to spawn, and so you can hold where they're going to come through based off of that. So that's all the tips and tricks that I have for today. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do leave a like on it. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see another tips and tricks video, and subscribe to be notified as soon as I upload the next one, or if you just enjoy the type of content that I create. Thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado, I'll see you guys next time.